What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Fast. Today, let's get started with Alexander Volkanovski admits other fighters are more deserving to fight him for the title at UFC 325. Many fans and fellow fighters were surprised by the booking, as dangerous contenders Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evloev would have provided a fresh challenge for the Aussie and seemed to have earned the opportunity to compete for the belt. Lopes was not Volk's first choice of opponent to begin his second title reign, but the UFC was clearly in favor of him rematching the 30-year-old contender. Obviously, I wanted to fight a bit earlier. I thought it was going to be December. We thought Lerone Murphy December, then I guess the UFC were waiting for Silva and Lopes. Then they were saying Lopes, and obviously we're like, we just fought that guy. Is there more deserving people or not? Everyone knows I'll fight anyone. Although a rematch with Lopes wasn't his first choice, Alexander Volkanovski is confident that they will provide another thrilling bout for fight fans at UFC 325. UFC really wanted Lopes, but at least everyone knows they're in for a treat. It's going to be a very exciting fight. With Movsar and Lerone, they're more deserving, but are they going to bring the fight like Lopes would? I think the fans are going to appreciate the fight that me and Lopes are going to have. Dominick Cruz. Payton Talbott winnable fight for broke Henry Cejudo. Former dual champion Henry Cejudo is projected to make his final walk to the octagon against Payton Talbott at UFC 323 on December 6th. Cruz would like to remind Cejudo of the time he retired after their title fight in May 2020. He already did that after he fought me, and then I fought 2 more times when I would have rematched him, but he gets broke. So he's probably broke and he's fighting again. I think he needs the money. Jabs aside, Cruz sees Talbott as a favorable matchup for Cejudo, but isn't counting on his former foe to follow the correct path to victory. Talbott's good. As long as Henry mixes in his wrestling, if he wrestled as much as Merab does, which he has the tools to do so, I think he would do great against Talbott, but I don't know if he will. I think he might try to stand up with him. George St-Pierre weighs in on a potential Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight. UFC legend George St-Pierre admits that it would be difficult to bet against Jon Jones in a hypothetical matchup with Tom Aspinall. Jones and Aspinall were of course linked to fight back in 2024. This while Bones donned the undisputed heavyweight title and the Brit served as interim champion. However, shortly following his stoppage victory over Stipe Miocic at UFC 309, Jones informed Dana White and company that he had decided to retire and thus would be vacating the promotion's heavyweight championship. With Jon Jones recently clamoring for a return fight on the upcoming UFC White House card in June, talks of a potential Bones versus Aspinall bout have resurfaced. Former 2-division UFC champion George St-Pierre was recently asked to share his thoughts on a hypothetical matchup between Jones and Aspinall and shared the following sentiments. It's a hard fight to call. In terms of accomplishments, Jon Jones has accomplished more than anyone. He's the best. However, if you talk about today, who's the best today? Because Tom Aspinall, he's younger. He's on momentum, but now his momentum just got broke a little bit. It was an eye gouge, but until that happened, it was a very close fight. I think we will see soon what will happen. They're probably going to rematch because it was a very good fight. They were coming forward, hitting each other. It was a very good fight. St-Pierre continued and admitted it would be hard to bet against his one-time training partner Jon Jones. But if Jones and Aspinall fight, I don't know. Jones is an anomaly. You cannot bet against Jon Jones. Even though on paper you might say he's older, he's not in his prime anymore. But man, he's Jon Jones. Max Holloway unsure if he wants spot on UFC White House card. Max Holloway thinks he'd be a good candidate for the UFC White House card, but he isn't exactly clamoring for it. For years, Holloway has been praised for his fan-friendly style and the Hall of Fame resume he has built. Many believe he'd be the right type of fighter to compete on the historic White House card. We'll see what happens with the Conor thing, with Jon Jones coming back. I think the card idea is cool, but there's no American champion. The only American champion there is the BMF title, so you're looking at the man. So am I going to be at the card? I like my odds of being on it. Even if that were the case, Holloway admitted that it's not something he's sure he actually wants. But I don't know too much of really wanting to be on it, because I heard that's only going to have like 5,000 people on the lawn, and then across the street they're going to have like 80,000 people at screens watching and stuff, which is cool. But the 5,000 people, I don't know if my family would be able to have seats there. Holloway's next fight hasn't been made official, but many have been calling for him to have a rematch against Charles Oliveira. The two fought back in 2015, but the fight ended quickly when Oliveira suffered an injury. Michael Bisping. Song Yadong fight at UFC 324 favors Sean O'Malley. Michael Bisping thinks Song Yadong is a perfect stylistic matchup for Sean O'Malley. O'Malley will look to snap a 2-fight losing skid when he takes on Song at UFC 324 on January 24th. O'Malley's back-to-back losses came to UFC bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili. With Song, UFC Hall of Famer and commentator Bisping says O'Malley will get to show off his striking. Song Yadong, this is a fight that kind of favors Sean O'Malley in terms of it's a striking groundbreaking matchup. Song Yadong's first primary weapon is the hands. Sean O'Malley loves to box as well. This is a fight where we're going to be able to see Sean O'Malley operating to the fullest of his ability. There's a little bit of pressure because he will be expected to be able to beat somebody like Song Yadong. And for Song, it's a massive opportunity on the first card on the new network with the whole world watching to get a big win over a former champion. And do not underestimate Song Yadong. Winner of 3 of his past 4 fights, Song returns after an 11-month layoff after defeating former 2-division champ Henry Cejudo by technical decision. 5 of Song's 11 UFC wins have come by knockout. Michael Chandler plans to systematically break Conor McGregor down at UFC White House event. Michael Chandler still harbors thoughts of facing Conor McGregor in the UFC. The pair were scheduled to fight at UFC 303, but the bout was called off after the Irishman pulled out with an injury. Chandler then faced Paddy Pimblett at UFC 314, but lost that fight. Despite being on a 3-fight losing streak, Iron hasn't given up on facing one of the biggest names in combat sports. To be able to get draped in the stars and bars and get my hand raised right there on the White House lawn. I've dreamt about it. I've visualized it ever since this announcement was made that we were doing this fight on the White House lawn, and I believe it's going to come to fruition. Iron envisioned US President Donald Trump lifting his arm after beating McGregor. The American highlighted that anything is possible, with no one expecting a UFC event to take place in the White House. There is almost nothing that is impossible. First of all, this sounded impossible just 6 months ago, doing a fight at the White House. Now you get it set and the amount of things that are on the table, nothing is off the table. That would actually be really, really cool. Donald Trump coming in and raising my hand, raising my arm to get a win for America on its birthday. The White House card is set for June 2026 on Donald Trump's birthday. Dana White is yet to confirm any fights for the event, with discussions to take place from February next year. Jon Jones seconds Khabib Nurmagomedov's advice for aging fighters. It appears 2 of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, Jon Jones and Khabib Nurmagomedov, agree on one thing: MMA is a young man's sport. Earlier today, Bones shared a clip of the Eagle urging aging fighters to hang up their gloves before it's too late. During a press conference in August, the former undefeated UFC lightweight champion highlighted why it was ideal for fighters to not compete once they turn 35. When you become 35, you have to stop doing this. Leave this sport for young guys, because when you become 35 and you don't finish, somebody is going to finish you. When you are past your prime, you're going to fight only for money, but you will lose your health. Worry about your health. Worry about your life after 40 to 70. Go and work and make money like an Uber driver. It's much better than getting slept inside the cage. This is my honest advice for fighters. After 35, 36, do not rush for money and risk losing your health. While Jones is 38 and still fighting, it seems he agrees with Nurmagomedov's assessment. The former 2-division champion shared the Eagle's advice on his Instagram story, writing, "Wise words from the champ, make your money young, and don't be afraid to diversify."